Okay. You wouldn't believe it, but it's time for brakes. So we'll get this done. I've turned the wheel. We'll see why in a minute. But get this up. I turned it, make it a little easier to get in here. So I use bottle jacks. So it makes it a little easier to get in here. We'll get this thing jacked up and I'll catch you in a minute. Alright, I saved you the pain of watching me pull a wheel and tire. So now I'm going to get this caliper off. Gotta pull our slider pin here, slider pin here. It's 18 millimeter. Don't know what it torques to, but we gotta pull them. This is why I pulled the wheel. I turned the wheel this way so you can get at this stuff with your impact gun. This top one's still kind of a pain. Probably gotta get it with my ratchet.
Why?
Hey.
Why, Dad?
Well, we gotta get at it.
Get at it?
Yeah, we gotta pull the slider pins out of this thing so we can get the caliper off.
Caliper off?
And the caliper.
Oh.
Alright, we got about 1/8 of an inch left on this side, but the other side is down to the metal. So we take that inner pad and I set it here, and then I get these fancy vice grips here to squeeze them pistons back in. Yeah, we gotta squeeze the pistons back in.
Why?
Otherwise, well, if we put the new rotor back on with new pads, it's gonna be too thick. We gotta be able to get the caliper on. So I'll get these squeezed back, pop the vent, pop the cap off your reservoir, your brake fluid reservoir. If you got too much in there, you got to drain some out. But squeeze those back, pull your pads out, and then you gotta take this off. We'll get to that in a minute. So if you gotta drain off a little fluid, get you an old soda pop bottle. Yeah. Get you a straw. It's pretty low tech, but we don't have to drain out that much. We just got to get enough room in this reservoir so when we push the pistons back, the fluid that comes back don't overflow and make a mess. So we'll get this drained down a little and we'll catch you back in a minute. Alright, we got these bolts for the abutment plate, or I believe that's what it's called, the caliper runs up against. Got them cracked loose. We'll pull this thing off of here. Alright, here's this caliper bracket. Got to pull these little sheet metal things off of there, like so. That's ready to go back together. Alright, I'm putting a new rotor on. I've held it up to the old rotor, made sure it's the same size. It's close enough. I don't think we're going to have any problems. Should be the right one. I'm just going to take a little brake clean. And we'll wipe all the schmoo off this thing, get her nice and clean. Nice and clean. Alright, we'll put that side there. We're gonna put this up on the hub, put it on with a couple lug nuts, and we'll head over there. Now we'll wipe this side down. Alright, I'm going to go ahead, put this caliper mount back on. Don't know what these torque to. They look like 16mm bolts, which I believe standard torque on those is about 160. Don't quote me. We'll look them up later and retorque them when we're ready. So I'll get this tight. And we'll load it up with our springs. Yeah. I didn't draw an airplane. And we got to put these little slider things in. Notice this side's a little wider. It's got to fit over this wider spot on this caliper bracket. So we'll sneak these down in here. And just kind of push on. They're kind of spring loaded a little bit. Help with your calipers, keep them from rattling. Get this one pushed on here. Just like that. Okay, we'll get our new pads in there. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. They're kind of snug. Hey, look at that. Okay, and these should slide pretty easy there. Don't want them binding up. Okay, we'll get these slider pins ready. We'll get the caliper on. Okay, got a slider pin. We get all the dried up grease wiped off this thing. Okay, I've got a piece of Scotch-Brite. There's sometimes you get a little dried out crusties on here. Get this thing cleaned off here. Now, I usually just buy the little packet of the grease you need when you're at O'Reilly or AutoZone or something. They got them right at the checkout counter. And grease this pin up real good. Because this is a race truck. We can't have brakes dragging. Kill our horsepower, kill fuel mileage. There's a reason these brakes went 149,000 miles this last go. And I'll get this other one cleaned up and I'll meet you back at the caliper. Alright, we can get this caliper back down here. I'll try and do this one-handed for you guys. But you gotta watch these little rubbers here. Kind of tilt it this way, catch your rubbers, and then sneak that baby on. And like this one we didn't get, so have to play with it a hair. Okay, we got that in there. So now we'll do the old hold it with your knee because you're holding the camera trick. We'll get these, we got them nice and lubed up, ready to go. Snake them down in there. Got one started. And this one, there we go. Okay, we'll tighten those up, torque them, put the wheel back on, we're done. Okay, one thing you need to watch out for is this little bellows needs to cover that slider pin all the way. Otherwise that thing's just gonna rust up, be a mess, won't wanna slide. Can't have that. But this is kind of, it moves a little. We'll go in, step on the brake pedal before we drive it, get that thing to firm up. Well, let's get the wheel and the tire on here. We'll call this one done. All right, we got the wheel back on there, sitting on the ground. That's that. Pretty simple job. If you are gonna do it yourself, at the very end, pump that pedal up. Make sure you got pedal before you put her in drive, because I've seen guys drive her into the wall because they can't stop. So if you are not comfortable with brakes, if you don't feel comfortable doing it, don't do it. Give them to somebody else that can do it. But it's a fairly simple job on these Chevy trucks. So hope you guys enjoyed that. We'll catch you on the next one.